All right, let's get it going, shall we? We've had a snack. We've had an awesome talk. Death Angel Shadow has redeemed an appreciation gift, and I see you did message me about the set of minis that you want. Shin was saying my idea is that their shared enemy is a higher up in the temple and sack them for something he didn't like. They wouldn't mind being in a dark temple because they are mostly neutral. So I guess that depends on how you're expressing neutrality as well. I know I keep throwing this back at you, Shin. It's not that I don't believe you. What is neutrality? Neutrality is the expression of oneself. Oh, snap. Like, I guess we're going to be, what, down another 4? So we're down 10. Though I won't restock the capsules until we're down 20 plus. Death, am I correct? That's for 4 capsules? Alright. No, you will never know. Message me about Goblin Prime if you're not going to trade it. Again, it's just a matter of time where I have to sit down and make sure I can do the trades and be as accurate as possible. RR? What is RR? Oh, I'm sorry, you got it from a trade. Then yeah, message me about the mini you want, and then I'll see if I can get it or if I have it already. Oh, Roger. Okay, gotcha. And yes, Shin, I totally understand that. I am on board with you. I want to see where the story goes because I think you have a great idea. Though when we take a concept like they're neutral, I think we need more to that in their expression or how the character's behavior, which of course then will continue to not percolate is kind of like up to matriculate, I think is the proper term. It will continue to flow and build out all sorts of other details. So Shin, please, Kromdrade is the right idea. Use your big brain energy. I want to see where your story prompt will take us. All right, Death. We're doing it live, everyone. We're doing it live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my gosh, look. Oh, look at the kerchief or the do-rag on the big brain. That works out so well, Kromdrade. That is cool. All right, let's pop these open and take a look. What does Death have coming to him? All right, we'll find out. Is there paper? Is there that sacred material known as paper? We were at 44 capsules, and 11 of them have pieces of paper in them. I guess we're just going to have to find out together, huh? But first things first, make sure the desk stays organized. Because if I don't, I will go crazy.
How's the Friday night going?
Hey, hot dogs! Thank you for the re-up on that. It's going very well. I'm showing off some capsules here that Death Angels won, and then we're gonna do a relationship map for the party we created earlier this week. Let's open up camera 3. Here I am. All right, Death Angel. We start out with a Myconid adult. A myconid adult. The fact that the green ovals aren't vertically aligned irks you. Yeah, unfortunately, I was making ovals real quick, like in paint. Don't worry, we will distract your eyeballs soon enough with lines that are connecting everything. So hopefully, in the beautiful chaos and mess from there, we will help your eyeballs. Next up, and actually, let me make sure that your name goes next to that on the old chart here. And that is the myconid that's kind of reaching forward. Next up, we have a male half-elf monk performing a flaming kick. Alright, after that, you have a Medusa. Haha, now you're made of stone. It could be smoky. It could be water. It could be whatever you want to paint it to look like. It could look like he stepped in doo-doo butter, and he's trying to fling it off his shoe. It's up to you. You have a Medusa. And lastly, you have another pre-painted miniature, so there's still 11 pieces of paper in the 40 capsules. You have a werebear. A werebear with a maul. Yeah, you see it in profile? It has a little twist off of its chin. A braided beard bear. You have been mauled by a werebear. Drizkill has a spell reflect. Or, oh yeah, Drizkill's like, or a goo kick, yeah. Maybe you just finished, like, stomping a puddle of, like, gray ooze or something. It's a hipster bear. It's me in bear form. So, Death Angel, I hope that you like the minis that you got, and thank you very much for the support. I appreciate that. Alright, it is now time. It is now time. No, I got the you're welcome. There are some that boo, fly over my head, despite my height. But that one, right between the eyes. Let's create a relationship map for the characters that we have. If we come over here, we still have our documents open if we want to reference them, because it could come in handy. In fact, I'll kind of drop that down a little bit to make it easier for me to click into it. we have our 4 characters. And if you wanted to color code this to match up here, that would probably make more sense. So we have Framelda, Honey, Feathers, and Vowlim. Oop, that's not going to be... Okay, here we go. Soothorn, hey. My play group is starting Ghosts of Saltmarsh tomorrow, and one of my newer players insists on playing a kobold because he thinks it'll be fun. Any tips on handling monster PC races? Kobolds are listed... Pardon me. I drank a soda. I'm not trying to be rude to you here. Well, kobolds are found in Volo's Guide to Monsters. And it in that book, it does have tips on kobold culture, and it gives you ways that you can consider playing or thereby running for a kobold character, as well as giving them PC level growth, or like to make them a PC race that's not a monster out of the book, as monsters operate differently mechanically than player characters do in many instances. Ultimately, it would be what would kobolds be in your culture? How are they viewed, or something along those lines? Or is kobold simply a mechanical platform for something else that you reskin? But Volo's Guide to Monsters has the stats for kobolds. If you're just looking for the mechanics, but I think it also gets into their culture, how they think they're dragons, and some other such things. My opinion mechanically is kobolds aren't busted. I don't think it's it's an overpowered player race. It's certainly a little different. It's fun. But I don't think there's anything you really have to worry about mechanically. It would just be what are kobolds in the world that you're presenting. To gloss over to these disguising, if it's a mundane disguise, putting a fake mustache at the end of a reptilian snoot is going to give you a reptile with a fake mustache, or if you're good enough, a reptile growing a real mustache. If it's the spell, the disguise self spell does take into a consideration some bodily dimensions, and so a snoot or a tail. Because, for example, tieflings can use disguise self. Now, the caveat to that is the tail does not go away; it's just not represented by the spell. And so, if someone steps on the kobold's tail, it's still gonna hurt. Or if the tail thwaps into a little table in a hallway that has a vase on it, and the vase falls over and breaks, and the character is standing next to it, whether anyone sees a tail or not, that's still the only character sitting next to the table in the hallway that had the vase on it. So it would be... there are certain height and weight. So I don't think a kobold could turn into a size category larger, as I don't believe the disguise self spell allows for that. Maybe you could add a foot to your height, but you'd still be a small creature, which would mean that the kobold would probably be better off looking like a human or an elven child, or if you want to go adult, go for a gnome or a halfling or a goblin, something else that is more in its height and weight class. But yeah, on touch, you wouldn't feel anything there. Yeah, or he'd look like a normal nose, but if someone were to pass by, they would boop his snoot and wonder what just happened because there's nothing there. So he plans on disguising as a gnome. So yeah, I mean, just remind him. A gnome, I think, would be appropriate. Remind him that he's going to have to do something with his tail and his snoot. I don't know if that means he has to, like, tie his tail to his leg. Or, I don't know what about his snoot. Just, like, try and stay a couple feet away from people just in case. But yeah, I don't see a problem with that. On any of those levels. It's just that he wouldn't be able to go into arguably even a dwarf, because that's technically medium-sized. Pardon. And dwarves are rather thick. And so I don't think you might be able to get the height, but you couldn't get the girth of a dwarf. Hopefully that answers your question, Southern. And thank you for bringing that question into our workshop, too. If you have more, please ask. You're welcome to do so. Alright, so we have our 4 characters. We have Fram, Honey, Framalda, Fram, Honey, Feathers, and Valen. And thank you very much for the follow, Southern. I put beginning 4 bubbles around each, because I think we can easily make notes about a location, about an NPC, about family, or a friend. And I would urge all of you who do this kind of relationship map to force yourself to manifest 4 or 5 different things that may be obvious from the character sheets, especially the background. And if they're not there, then this is going to get you to think more deeply about a connection that could be made. This is a 5e map. Yeah, Ivalon. Derek would be proud of us right now. We have our references from the other worksheets that we made before. And if any of you are new here, you don't need to... I don't want you to be baffled at this. None of this took a ton of time. These are worksheets we already had prepared. We filled some things in, colored it, bada boom. There we go. So let's take a look at Framelda here. I think something that we can list for sure is that there's a temple from which she was labeled a heretic and sort of excluded from. All right, you will never know. Be well. Thank you for stopping in. I always enjoy the conversation you bring. So we have a location here of a temple. Yes, bonds are excellent places. Bonds are excellent places. I mean, the background itself, but a bond it's the low-hanging fruit. What about an important... yeah, well, she can and inside her own shell. She has her own, like, container, even. That was a topic that was brought up when we were creating the character. Revenge for this character is not... Yeah, so these were... Ivalon, you're beating me to it. We got this. Yeah, so I gotta start with revenge. Ivalon's that hardcore press. The public demands to know! Is holding the microphone. The public demands to know. Answer the questions! When we were making the character, that was the prompt as was written in the book. It was brought up, and so Ivalon, great minds think alike, and my mind did not come up with this. that revenge is probably not the best word for who she is in all the other ways. And so instead of revenge taking the core of that statement, she wants to remove the problem, but it doesn't have to be through revenge. Especially because she seeks change, she's probably working on a direct or mortal solution to the hierarchy that ousted her for having these powers, or even for questioning the hierarchy. And so you're correct. As this was written out of the book, we can take that original prompt and step sideways with it. Yeah, it could be, I will reveal the corrupt temple hierarchy. Which is fun and ironic because she is a shadow sorcerer and she wants to shine some light on him. Are there beginner-friendly one-shots you recommend? Well, the starter pack, the essentials kit, both have starter adventures. The Stranger Things one does as well. And I think the Rick and Morty one does. I think that one has one too. And those are, those last two are thematic to the shows. But yeah, Lost Mine of Phandelver. That's a really, really solid first adventure. Or the Dragon of Icespire. I think that's just what it is. That's in the Essentials kit. That's another good one too. Aside from that, I mean, Curse of Strahd takes you from 1 to 10. So does Tomb of Annihilation. And the first couple levels are, it's pretty bread and butter stuff. So it would just depend on your comfort level for running a game of a particular length of time. So we have a location of a temple. We do have an enemy as well, and that is this hierarchy. Yeah, I myself and others will highly recommend that to you, Shin. Yeah, most of them are, as that's the sweet spot for D&D 5e. Just statistically, most people prior to even 5e really only played like till 10. And that's why in 5e, epic level doesn't start after 20. You are an epic level character at level 17 going into 20. Yeah, we might carry a mark like that. And so if we want to take that as a literal part, as a brand, and not just, as just that, then we can come over here, and a notable part about us, we have a brand that means something. Yeah, and 4E was 21 to 30. And what is some other, what is another part of this character? It could be family. It could be, oh, you know what? Let's go right back to the, let's go right back here. Framelda. I see omens in every event and action. The gods try to speak to us, we just need to listen. And this is something relevant to the character. We have omens. Alright, now let's take a look at Honey. We have Honey, our centaur courtier that's also a courier. In other words, he makes curry. He's a chef. No, I'm just... He is an exuberant youth who loves delivering letters and packages at any cost because he wants to prove himself. And what is going to come up for a courtier is there's going to be some kind of court. And if it's not a court of law or a court of executive power, or an executive power at whether level, any level, whether it's municipal or kingdom-wide or whatever, there is a court that exists that he works within to deliver messages and packages. And even by an extension of that, there is a city in which this court is operating. And we don't have a name for the city yet, but the city is going to be a big part of this character as well. Now, there is a someone that is relevant. We talked about his dad being like the court wizard. And in this case, we can actually come up here and we can already just add an extra bubble where we'll come back and we can draw a line to his dad between dad and court. And then, of course, you know, both of these are directly connected to honey. Maybe. I guess that depends on what the native font size is. I know I could draw bigger offhand, then go to the text tool, type it in, adjust it, change colors or anything else like that. We believe in the community, although that could be represented by the court or the city. If not city, then we could replace city with community. He talks at length about his profession. I believe that anything worth doing is worth doing right. I can't help it, I'm a perfectionist. We discussed how this kid was very smart and was even taught a certain set of skills, much like the Liam Neesons though, where he learned how to use thieves' tools to break into offices, not to steal, but because he's so fervent in delivering the packages that he'll leave them on the desk, even if someone left their office locked. Well, I better go in here and leave the package behind. Oh, hey, Chris. Skip one night to play D&D and a bunch of capsules still left. Any epic pulls? We're down 10 and no pieces of paper have showed up yet. And there's at least 2 dice sets in the mix. It was a clue. As well as something that's worth several tens. And so we have some kind of a mentor. Because he's not an unintelligent kid. He has a fairly decent intelligence score. Look, a 15. And he has he's good at investigating. He was taught either by himself or, you know, through someone else in the court, taught him to use various weapons, or like his family, like a master of arms for his house, taught him how to use these tools and weapons. So he has a mentor of some kind as well. That's important. Oh, sleep time for you, Ivalon. Thank you for coming in, Ivalon. I hope that, you know, when you came in, you were excited. I felt that energy, and I tried to play along with it with the interviewer. I hope I didn't come across as hostile to you. Because all your questions are absolutely relevant ones to ask about the characters. And, you know, 10 out of 10. In other words, you rolled 100. If the 0 is a 10, and then we rolled or I guess if the 10 is a 10 and we rolled 2 zeros, which is another 10. 10 times 10 is 100. No, you're fine, Evelyn. Don't worry about it. I appreciate you coming in here with your exuberance. Oh, you sold a large minis collection? The printed paper ones work for a lot of people too. Yeah, Southern. It's 2:30 a.m. for me too, Ivalon. We're in the same time zone. Unless you're in that like kind of fringe, isn't there one time zone at the tip of Canada that's only like a half hour ahead? Is that Nova Scotia? Oh, Newfoundland and Labrador. Got it. Okay. Oh, well, there we go. All right, then. So we have a mentor. We have some locations. Yeah, we share the same time zone, Ivalon. I'm right on Lake Erie. Well, my girth cannot be ignored, Ivalon. So let's see. Our dad was teaching us magic. We had a mentor that taught us these other skills. We probably then also, I mean, because we're so young, we may not, we don't really have a lot of property ourselves. And a lot of this is our own kids. He's so excited. Though there is a. Oh wow! Thank you very much for the raid. Welcome, and you know what? Let's give a shout out. A second raid, my goodness, yeah. Let's give a shout out to Nox. Is that how I'm pronouncing it? Oh, playing some Minecraft. Hey, were you role playing in Minecraft? Ah, all right. Or is this just sort of like a relax, build cool stuff in the sky kind of a game? Oh, hey, base. It's a build event. Cool. What were you building? Drizzkill, I knew you when you had only 10 viewers. Remember the little people. Remember the little people. We probably have some kind of a postmaster. Or some kind of, someone who gives us jobs. And so a lot of our ovals, a lot of our relationships are with people because we don't have a lot of property or we don't have a heavy investment in other things. Halfway through our list, I forgot to do my homework. Did you stream that too, Nox? Interesting. It's like a homework, chill out with homework stream. Hey, you know what? If it works, it works. If it works, it works. I appreciate the ingenuity. Now, Nox, do you do a lot of role playing yourself? Then, do you play D&D or other role playing games? Ooh, pardon. And today was it, well, as the prophecy foretold. Oh, that dreaded when I have the time. I know that all too well, my friend. I know that all too well. All right, let's check out Feathers, our Kenku. And by the way, Nox, as I say stuff like that, I'm not ignoring you. We can still talk or ask or answer questions. In between, I'm still presenting the workshop content. The DM went out to college. Yep, that's being deployed, going to college, or moving for family, friends, work, or some other relationship. Those are all, or of course too, it's a more somber note, but having, someone at your table pass away. These are all gauntlets of proving ourselves as role players that we have been through. We've shared the initiation pain, Nox. All right, now Feathers is actually going to be sharing a lot of these with Framilda. So I wonder, can we still come up with 4 unique bubbles for Feathers? You know, we have the line of someday I will get revenge on the corrupt temple hierarchy. And by the way, I should go back and make these that same color. There we go. Because when we go and make these connections, Feathers is going to connect with the temple. Feathers is going to connect with the omens, and Feathers is going to connect with the brand, as well as the hierarchy.
Sound a feasting horn.
And Nox, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome aboard. Well, Nox, I'll tell you what. If you want to roll a d20, type X. Oh no, actually, I don't have Math Rock Spot rolling. So I guess you can't right now. Math Rock Spot is sleeping. Well, if you have a d20 handy, go ahead and roll it. Well, they're sharing them, Southern. Yeah, the Math Rock Spot is taking a nap right now. So what else can we have here?
Many fall in the face of chaos, but not this one. Not today.
Not today. Not this one. Not today. Thank you very much for the host. The one and only. I've been trying to practice that kind of wispy back of the throat. Not this one. Not today. And hello, Golden. Welcome. Well, Feathers, like Fram, is an acolyte. However, Fram was branded as a heretic. With a physical brand, as Ivalon said, that could be the case. Feathers, we actually may be able... he may not have been branded itself in that fashion. And so the hierarchy is still there. As he was... Well, it could be. I don't know. We could always put the line back. He was an acolyte just like Framelda was. Now, he took a different path. Framelda developed these dark sorceress powers, as she is a shadow magic sorcerer. Feathers went through training, became a warrior, was taught a way to fight and given a cause. And so Feathers, unlike Fram, has some kind of an instructor, like a drill instructor or a coach, or I don't know what the proper word would be in this. I guess we'll just put like a trainer. A trainer. I thought I'd share the company before bed. Thank you very much, the one and only. You're always welcome here, and it's good to see you again. Rest well. Oh, hi, Mike. I'm sorry, I didn't see your comment there originally. That makes your voice very dramatic and narrator-like. Well, thank you very much. Part of D&D, practice voice acting. You might sound goofy, so do it in the shower or the car if no one's listening. Listen to voice clips, and also listen to yourself speak. Record yourself speak and get used to the fact that your voice is your voice. Who cares if you think it sounds dumb? Other people are listening to it. There's nothing you can do about it. But practice makes perfect. Common, do you speak it? Practice makes perfect. Just like our dear Honey character is a little perfectionist. He's such a pure being. My goodness. Yeah, most paladins start as knights and such, so he had to have a trainer of some kind. as well as Kenku can only speak off of words that they have heard. The trainer may very well have taught him physical, like combat abilities. He may have had also, speaking of voices, something like a voice coach. Which gave him things to say, because Kenku have an interesting ability that if your DM approves of it to roleplay through. It freaks me out that my voice sounds way different than how I hear it. Makes me think when I do accents or voices, you must sound really off. You know what? Lean into it, Mike. Lean into it, own it, and in many cases it will be accepted. And if someone says, oh, look at this guy Mike over here, trying to immerse us in a realm of magic and fantasy by providing accents to make it a more enjoyable experience. Wow, what a jerk. I think you can ask that person to leave your table. Do Kenku actively pursue fluency? Yes and no. Kenku, as presented in Volo's guide, can only mimic things that they've heard. They can read and write just fine. They can only speak other things that they've heard. So if they wish to communicate vocally, they have to not fluency, but they need to have a vocabulary so that they can speak. Base, if you want to put that under, I won't be able to click it in chat. If you want to share that on our Discord, you're welcome to do so. Effectively, Mike. Yeah. In fact, mimicry is exactly the ability that they get. They repeat things that other people say, and therefore they can say it in that voice. But yeah, if you put that on Discord, I'll be able to take a look at it. I just can't do it right now, Base. And other people in the community here can find it on Discord easily as well. And Shin, thank you for spawning the link for others. But if any of you need it, !Discord. It'll generate a link for you. Now, what else has happened in his life? Sees omens in every event and action. Nothing can shake my optimistic attitude. We have a goal of some kind. And that could very well be to bring down this hierarchy that injured our mentor, Fremelda. There's something else that is cheering us up. This could be a bond that's not a part of the written bond out of the book. This could mean that we have someone who... Are we fighting on behalf of someone? Are we fighting to leave behind a better world? He does judge others harshly and himself even more severely. Someone, and it could be Fram, it could be a moral guide. Or he has taken, while he is an Oathbreaker paladin, Oathbreaker is simply the label for a set of mechanics. This doesn't mean that he doesn't have an oath or that he has forsaken religion. In fact, he may still be the religion that he first trained under. It could be one that just involves necromancy and other things. He doesn't have to be evil for that. Necromancy is not inherently evil. Though there is some standard, a book, a saint, or someone else, that is empowering him to be so judgmental. And in this case, he has a prayer book. I think something that is worth a lot to him is this holy book. He goes by it And as Ivalon was pointing out, perhaps it's the hierarchy itself and not the faith. It wasn't, I'm sorry, Ivalon backed that up. Shin was talking about, I think, right? Shin, were you the one saying that it was the hierarchy and not the religion that was like the issue? But we have something very important to us. Okay, I'm glad I remembered. And if I misremember someone who said something, you can always correct me. I will not take it personally. I want to make sure that I am doing my best to engage with you all to remember, and also that, you know, credit's due where it is. So we have our holy teachings, our holy book. This is something that is very precious to us. This has taught us the way. This has been a guide. And the hierarchy, you know, we're judging the hierarchy, you know, with the book. Because in our opinion, you know, this whole court's out of order. Yes, Southern, I will link them in just a moment. I want to consider these extraneous bubbles first, and then we'll do some more linking. Now, what else? I see omens. Nothing can shake my optimistic attitude. That could be linked to the Holy Book. Charity. I always try and help those in need, no matter the personal cost. So maybe there's an orphanage. Maybe there are others who were persecuted. We have a favorite charity that this person believes in giving. I mean, the general concept of giving, yes. Though we could take charity as like the concrete noun of an organization. And to whom would he provide? To whom would he provide that? Well, pardon me. What are some clues? So we're an acolyte. We were holy trained. We took some oaths. There are other things going on in the world. And if we need to float some stuff until we create the setting as well, don't be afraid to always go back. You can change your notes. If we put charity here, and then in tomorrow's workshop, when we determine the setting, you know, when we make the city and the surrounding countryside and all that, this might come back and be the prompt that we can fill in. Like, we'll just erase this, and then we'll actually specifically label a charity. It could even be, yeah, a classic paladin tithe. Okay, now what was brought up as well, Feathers and Fram are connected, and this is a two-way connection between these two. And however you want to do this, we could put Fram is the mentor, Feathers is the mentee, just like employer and employee. Yeah, and so the Holy Book could be the God or the manifestation in written form. And you know what? We probably do read, if only the Holy Book. You know, he doesn't have a universal education. He's not too intelligent, but he does know his holy stuff. Yeah, like a senpai and kohai. Exactly, Wiffle. And when you make these connections as well, you can put the line, though, you know, between Feathers and hierarchy, you can make the note, and this is where, you know, I could run into trouble here. You could write something like, angry at methods, or you could just put methods, which is the you know, why this is a relationship. The omens are the same omens that Fram sees, and the omens then you can just simply label as signs of the gods in some variety. These are all writing prompts. These are all role-playing prompts. So hierarchy is methods. ODS, methods. We come over, Fram shares the methods. I kind of entwined them there just to show. And then you can put the label where the two cross over even. Whatever is going to work best for you spatially. Hey, Pneumonica, welcome. And of course, Fram also shares this same temple. So let's wrap these two around each other. Then these connect. And now we go to Valen here. Valen is a part of a guild. He is a weaver. He's an inventor, but he focuses on weaving. He's also like a hunter of beasts and also of vegetation. As a ranger, this is actually going to be pretty easy, because Valen has a beast rabbit, a rabbit companion. R-A-B-B-I-T, rabbit companion. Valen has his guild. Valen, through this background feature, because you can find this inspiration all over. Through urban infrastructure, we're really knowledgeable about blueprints and plans. And so, really, instead of writing city again, we can simply put Valen also has a bond with the city, just like Honey does. My experiment has the potential to reveal more secrets of the multiverse. I have the schematics for an invention that I hope to build one day once I have the necessary resources. And so here we can put down, we have our goal. We have our plan. Whoops, don't want that. We have our invention. And because there's some extra background information that you can roll if you use one of the Ravnica guilds as a background, here's some more. We have an ally in our guild, and this ally, when we were an attendant, prior to who we are now, I had a fierce rivalry with another attendant for a supervisor's attention, and so this is, I guess, implying that our ally is someone who helped us win the supervisor's attention for the promotion we got. And so we do have a guild, and then we can even go out here. And off of this, we have our ally. A sibling is the head of a laboratory doing exotic research. And this is our rival. And so we have someone here, so we have a sibling. We write sibling in the circle, we connect it here, and then we put the label of rival. We put rival here. Non-guild contact. I have a cousin in the Cult of Rakdos, whatever the equivalent is for our setting. Crazy circus / demon orgy pit. I have a cousin in the Cult of Rakdos, and we get along quite well. And this, so we already have one to the city. We can put yet another. And this is why going over your background, developing a background and doing something like this is doing these maps is so much fun. Valen kind of will come down here to the friend, and then the friend is connected to the circus. Though Valen's not connected to the circus, at least not directly, but the friend is. How much are tickets? Soul 95. As well, the invention could be just our own doing. Our ally could have helped us with this as well. So, we have some bubbles filled in. Not every character is going to have the same amount of bubbles or is going to have the same amount of connections. One character might just be the middle of everything. And the character might, mechanically be a potato, which is fine. Though through the story is crucial and provides these connections. Now, I wonder what kind of a bond we can find between Fram and Honey. And wouldn't you know, we did an exercise like that here. What is a major bond that those two share? Let's look for... I misquote sacred texts and proverbs, and I like to... So they both talk. They're both talkers. They both talk. They also both believe in the community very strongly. And also, by the way, by doing it like this is a relationship map just in a different format. Fram very much probably likes the city, and the temple is also connected to the city in one way or another, because it's located within it. Therefore, perhaps the hierarchy might be even an extension of the city or of the court if there's meddling going on. My piety leads me to blindly trust those that profess faith in my God, and I'm still looking for someone worthy. And because Honey looks for people who believe in the city, as does Framelda. Although, what would be the exchange? What would be something that creates a good give and a take between the two? Oh! Honey might have gone to Framelda in looking for someone worthy to carry letters and packages. Framelda does want to see societal change, but not the revenge that was stated by the book bond. And so we can have a relationship here where Honey provides Framelda information that he picks up along the way, which a lot of it is very damning considering how he operates. And Framelda gives Honey packages to deliver to certain people that could contain various messages. So let's do this. Fram to Honey. Honey to Fram. Fram... My phone. Oh. Apparently there's a Makahita nearby. Fram hires Honey, or through money or whatnot, hires Honey for jobs. Honey inadvertently provides Fram the revolutionary with all of the, when I went to go deliver the package to the Earl was looking out over the city from behind a curtain, but I swear the General's wife was also looking out over the city from behind the curtain. Remember, Honey is 9 years old. Honey sees... Look, kids see and hear things. They don't understand it. They don't get the innuendo, or they don't put two and two together. But apparently when Honey comes back to Fram hears all about how the Earl had a guest over, as the two of them were apparently behind the curtain at the window looking out over the city because of their patriotic spirit. And so Honey gives our revolutionary here info. Hey, Trooper. Good to see you again. Welcome back. All right, now what about Honey? Between Honey and Vowlin, what does Honey provide to Vowlin? Well, here's Honey, here's Vowlin. They both talk and talk and talk. Both of them have an obsession for their jobs. Both of them, now here, Honey, as we determined doing this sort of exercise, lost some funding, whether it's a letter of promise or lost a package that was supposed to go to Vallum that would have funded his schematics, forcing Vallum to have to take on adventuring jobs and other things to raise the capital enough to try and reinstitute his invention. Good night all, because as soon as I get home, I am going to sleep. Have a good night, Katniss. Do I play any card games? Actively, no. Passively, yes. Passively / by osmosis, yes. Now, this is another way you could represent relationships. They share so much. They both talk and talk and talk. They both have a job that benefits society. They both have, while it's a flaw in one and a personality trait, they both have a methodology. And there's also this even negative one where Honey carries around the guilt that he lost a package that was meant to go to Vallum. And yet we can summarize this relationship between the two of them, and we could put it between the two of them as simply friends. That's it. That's the give and take, is friendship. And as well, we can look at it now. I mean, we have centaurs, which are not humanoids; they're fae. Though we have a Beastmaster Ranger, we have someone who's used to working with animals, although he is a turtle. Then again, I think our society will not have humans and halflings and elves. I think the society that this party represents is one of animalistic characters. You know, no one's ever heard of an elf, or an elf is a fantastical creature. Doesn't have a shell, doesn't have, warm fur to keep the chill winter away, can't swim or hold their breath for an hour. Still, because centaurs might be treated differently because they're not humanoids, they are still different enough to be fae. Vallum as a Beastmaster Ranger may take kind of a leader. He is a rogue, as well as Honey, and Honey has refined the art a little bit more to be an arcane trickster, whereas Vallum has splashed it. So we could have another mentor-mentee relationship. They could just be friends. Or this is simply... I don't see Honey as working with Vallum, but once they get to know each other, then I think that they would actually be just good friends overall. If only as someone older looking out for someone younger, but being able to teach and train and to have that kind of a relationship. So I'm going to put friends, though there's a lot of other considerations. Whoa, Grimvex, 10 months? Ooh-wee! Card games? Well, let's see. My store sells Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! We did carry Force of Will for a while, though I think we phased that out. Cardfight Vanguard. People come in with other collections. Lord of the Rings was a living card game. Legend of the Five Rings. Well, Grimvex, still, thank you very much for doing so. So simply by osmosis, I hear about, decks and combos, but I do not get to play actively. My personal Magic collection at some point just got folded into the store inventory and now exists. Well, they're not even in binders anymore. Exists in our storage and whatnot. So I do not. I own no cards, and I own all the cards. My goodness, sorry. It's a store in Sandusky, Ohio called the Hero Zone. And we have comboed with another store called the Pop Shop. Wildfire, I do not have any Power 9. At least not personally, though Power 9 has come through the store. Alright, now Valen has a relationship to Feathers in some way. And this is a direct one, not indirect, like, oh, Feathers supports a charity that Valen's friend goes to for help, because, you know, he's hard up or whatever. That's an indirect connection, but I'm talking, what is a direct, personal relationship that Feathers will have with Valem here? Or it should be Valen, I think. Well, they share this, I want to discover more about the world. I judge others harshly, which builds into that enmity towards the temple, and myself even more severely. Was there schematics? I'm only looking for the resources. So we're determined. We're also hard on ourselves, which can also even blend in. I could make this a half and half coloration for the flaw, where we tend to ignore sleep for days when we're conducting research. And so, really, there could be a mutual exchange of omens for scientific theory to perhaps find the middle ground in between. As well, if Framelda and Feathers have been branded as heretics in the civilization, Valem might actually bring... Valem goes out into the forest and collects plants and animals and such. And so Valem might also just bring news, because he has nothing against the others. In fact, he probably trades news for other items. And so Valem can supply... Valen can supply news. Whoops. To Feathers and then through Feathers to Fram, because Feathers is very good at spreading news, because he repeats things that he's heard. And then in return, Feathers probably gives Valen omens to work with, and even could even be charity to donate towards something in the city on behalf. Because they do work, they still do want to express their love of the society, even if members of that society had outcast them. So news, and then Feather supplies omens, and maybe even goods. So that's how these two know each other. And then we can also do the same, where we have... what is Feather's connection to Honey here? And what about Valen's connection to Fram? And then Fram's connection to Valen. Oh, Trooper, you gotta go? Hey, don't apologize. Do what you gotta do. Trooper, you may be the only one right now. We have a lot of wonderful Australian friends that come by here, and I am happy to count you among them. Thank you for stopping by and for saying hi and checking in. Bubonic, you sold that set for $900 in 2006. And that's, I mean, at the time still, that wasn't a bad deal. It's only grown and grown though, right? Wildfire, friend of a cousin in the cult. For which connection? So with at least the workshop time, I'm not going to detail every little thing here because I want to express the methodology of how you can create this this relationship map. And we can still go through and we can find so much more with how things connect. We can come around here, and the hierarchy might be an extension. If we bring it up, the court could have a connection with the hierarchy. And that could be blue to red or red to blue, or you could just have it be shared both ways and kind of like, I don't know, intertwined red to show that it's just, it's a mutual back and forth with no other notes needed. The temple, of course, is a part of the city. So there's a connection here. If we go through, the guild is a major, it's an influencer in the city. And so we're sharing a lot through the city, through this location. The postmaster, it's not so much serving the city, but as a functionary of the court. But Honey has direct access to the postmaster. The mentor is a direct connection, which could be, could not, if we want to link him to Dad, or Dad could simply be his own entity, and the mentor, we could make another bubble up here for family. We can come down here if we're looking for more, because we're looking for ideas to build NPCs. We're looking for ideas to build villains. We're looking for ideas to build a setting. And when we start spreading this out and when we start moving things around, we're going to see these connections come up. We can ask ourselves, what if? And we can entertain it. And even if we don't accept it, we still have considered it. You know, we have these personas here. Is the person who trained Feathers, you know, the way of fighting. If Feathers used to be in the Order, and the Order was in the city, is this the same person who taught Honey how to fight as well? Could this be the same person, or is this through another guild, like a mercenary or some sort of battle guild? Is the voice coach someone else? And remember, if you're doing this, not everything has to balance. Not everything has to have an equal number of connections, and not everything has to connect to something else. You know, just because the charity is in the city doesn't mean that you have to connect the two just because the locale is the same. The charity may have nothing to do with supporting civic action. You know, at least not directly. Or the charity could be the tithe, or the charity is the concept of every day I will do something good for someone. And so it's not an organization, it's simply the concept that's exercised religiously. Yeah, the holy book to the temple. Whoops, wrong color. So his holy book is interpreted and back and forth through the omens, and the omens have to do with the temple, and of course the corrupt hierarchy is involved here as well. I'm skipping notes and other things. You could label these with numbers. You can do things where if you have a line passing through, if you do this, you see here where there's lines on both sides. It shows it's passing through, but you're not breaking that line, so you keep your... It's like electronics or circuits and whatnot. Or some people will do this. They'll come over, and then they'll put like a little bridge, and then they'll continue, so that it helps the eye in trying to follow these more complex or more filled out plans, instead of things, you know, crisscrossing and applesaucing. The invention, because it actually does have to deal. It does have to deal with these. The temple could even be looking at hiring or at exploring this if it's going to be a pursuit of power. But in this case, maybe it's not the temple itself. Maybe it's the hierarchy. And so, Vowlin, what a dramatic twist, everyone. Vowlin, little do the others know, is indirectly working on something for the hierarchy. And these others want to bring down the hierarchy. See how, as a dungeon master, we're finding all kinds of awesome relationships and prompts. So when we're delivering this adventure setting, we have it in mind. We know that Derek calls this strings and dominoes. We know that if something happens at the guild, if there's an explosion and it's leveled, that it's going to have a ripple effect on the story, to Vowlin, of course, and to the city, and something, maybe this ally of Vowlin's, although I think Vowlin would share this would actually be more of a circle here. The ally might have even been killed, and if that ally is killed, then what happens? How would that affect Vowlin? Or how would that affect the guild if the ally is assassinated? The Goombro, hello, good evening or good morning to you, as is appropriate. Well, did you all find this to be a useful exercise? This is not it. This is not a complete relationship map. I hope, though, through the prompts and the considerations, this empowers you to try making a relationship map yourself for your character and the others in your party, or as a dungeon master, to sit down and your evening. So it's are you West Coast? So it's only a little bit after midnight for you. If Maddie does a host, I'll have the 50,000 within 40 minutes of the stream starting tonight. Well, we are going to raid someone, yes. This looks complicated, Goombro. I promise you it's not. Over the course of this part of the workshop, we started with 4 empty squares, and every empty square had 4 empty circles. And just telling a story and thinking about the relationships, going back to the characters that we built over the last 2 nights in the workshop. All we did was extrapolated this data. We applied the data as some major points, and now we're going through the exercise of finding connections between them. So at first glance, this could look menacing, and I don't want any of you to feel, oh, I'm never going to do this. This looks so complex. How can I keep track of things?
Sound a feasting horn.
It isn't. And Goombro, thank you for the follow. It's not super complex. We take a Bob Ross style approach. We're painting happy trees. We're taking this D&D 101 and presenting it to you as a way to help you as a player or as a dungeon master, build a better character, have more fun at your tabletop, create a more immersive world that you want to play in. This is the bread and butter of who we are as a channel. We do play on Tuesdays, so you can see that I practice what I preach. Wednesday through Saturday, we run workshops where we teach character creation, map making. Every once in a while, we'll do D&D miniature painting 101. This is a very supportive, mentorship channel. And so as we made the relationships, we drew it, we discussed it. There should be more labels here. We would go through and write blue 1, blue 2, and then over on the side, if you want, you can have a little, here's blue 1, 2, and 3, green 1, 2, and 3, and you can write it off to the side to be more, or to be less visually complex. So this can be simplified, but this was the kind of hour-long quick and dirty about making a relationship chart. Because we've actually gotten new inspiration for the characters that we didn't have before. We have ideas for NPCs, we have ideas for locales within the city, and even that there's a forest outside of the city, which honestly, the forest as a location should have been outside here for Valen. And for all of you out there, if you're like, Rangers can do so much to build your world and enhance your story, because they are products of the setting. The presence of a ranger tells you so much about the world and its state. It's an indicator class. So yeah, we did the relationship map, and in quick review, we did some basic information extrapolation. We looked at our numbers, we looked at our saves, we looked at who had what for skill proficiencies, so we could see if the party was strong in some points or weak in some points. Just a list. Like, if we were to make a character sheet for the party, what would it look like? It would look a lot like this. Here's a sketch of our party, a nice profile picture. Here is our character sheet for our party. And as a dungeon master, we can sit back and say, oh, yeah. So we do have these strengths in the party. So I could give them tasks to accomplish that, I bet they'll have a good time with. If I want to challenge them, then these are some considerations. These are weaknesses of the party. If I want to provide them an opportunity, in other words, if I want to maybe promote the story, or not put them on a railroad track, but incentivize them, because this is something they're good at doing, here's our opportunities. If I want to do something that could, throw them for a loop, give them a little struggle, like earn that next level kind of a thing, or to increase tension in the story, here are some threats that would be threats to the party, because it is going after something that they're not prepared for. And this is so much information. And all of this, the Goombro, all 4 characters were completely randomly generated with random dice rolls in chat and using our character creator system, where it's just a couple random rolls, and then we sit down and look at the information and say, this is how it would come together. Wildfire, Witchers are melee-focused rangers? I would agree to that, yeah. Tried using a diplomacy graph to show major factions' control over the city. I haven't done that to that level of minutia, Wildfire. It's not a bad idea, and Matt Colville does have a lot of those great ideas. And you find that in his content, like the strongholds and followers and such. So there's so much more that we could go into depth, but I want to make sure I'm getting the breadth of information before we would sit down and really focus. Now, as a project, I don't know, maybe over the summer we actually sit down and 1 month we just dedicate to making a campaign environment, where we go through and we make like a little campaign primer that has the factions and the power, and we create like 50 NPCs for the city and the region, and we create some villainous plots and other things. That could be cool. That's our Tuesday campaign. We sat down for almost a month and a half, I want to say. And we just went through an ongoing setting creation. It created something that eventually turned into the basis for the Tuesday game. So it could be fun to do again, Wildfire. But yeah, Goombro, I hope then, Goombro, do you feel a little bit more relaxed that we're not here doing like super high level stuff, or that this is somehow excluding people from playing D&D? Because all we're doing, Goombro, we're sitting at a table and we're saying what if. That is all these exercises, I guess, could be ultimately reduced down to. It's a bunch of guys and girls sitting at a table in a game store going, oh, that'd be pretty cool. Or, oh, I heard this one time and we apply it to a character because it would be fun. Or, oh yeah, marathon session? Hey, all right, Daily.